All right, everyone. Yes, it is time to begin, people. Thank you all so much for joining us. For those who do not know me, my name is Dr. Princess Fumi Nkok. I am known as your life rehab ambassador, your global vision midwife at TEDx, international speaker, 14 times best-selling author, written over 24 books. I am by profession an advanced in psychiatry, doctor of nurse practice. And I am just awesome, delighted to be here because I'm telling you, this discussion is going to change, literally change the way you think about things. For some of you, it's going to be an answer, an exact answer to some of your prayers here. And those who will be watching us via way of replay, I hope that you have your pen, your pencil, your paper, everything down so that you can really partake of this. So let me just let Ramona introduce herself. Go ahead, Ramona.
Hello, everybody. I am a fearless visionary
Amen.
of the 19 best-selling authors
Okay.
of the new release, Fearless Visionary Tear the Veil. I'm also a technical writer, an instructional designer, developer. I'm also a coach, a mentor, a speaker, one who is equipped for this season to help women in particular rescue themselves, to heal. I'm healed to heal. I'm delivered to deliver. I'm set free to free. And it is my delight to be here with you today to share on my life journey, because that's where the healing begins with other people. When we tear the veil and tell the truth on ourselves, it's not just telling of the bad, but it's telling of how we work through the bad to get our best self.
That's right. Well, thank you all so much again. I know that we took a little bit of time earlier to kind of get ourselves situated, but I don't think that you're going to regret this. You heard Ramona talk about Fearless Visionary, Tear the Veil. These are the two volumes that we just released. It became number one hot new releases on Amazon. And of course, it hit number one in 7 categories. Since then, Ramona, do you want to share with them where we've been and where we're going?
Yeah, so we started out in the United Nations, and how befitting is that, because we are on a world tour. So we were right here in the United States, where the nations of the world meet.
Capitol Hill first. Capitol Hill.
Capitol Hill, then United Nations.
That's right.
Keep me honest. Then London and Paris, and we at India, because wherever our fearless visionaries go, we go with them.
That's right.
Next, we're going to be going to Atlanta, June 22nd. So please join us in Atlanta. Then we're going to some other stops. Will be Canada, St. Louis. We got a date.
I was wondering if you're not gonna say St. Louis. I would have talked to you. Like, wait a minute.
We have our date. Dr. Leonora, Muhammad, myself, Ramona Jones will be hosting in St. Louis on October 5th. We have other dates, South Carolina, New York.
Well, yeah, we'll just tell people to just check out our website at fearlessvisionaries.com and then click on World Tour, and that would give you where we're going to be.
Yes, and we're constantly updating that calendar, so keep checking back often.
Awesome. And for those of you who have not purchased your own volume, you really do want to purchase your volume. If you have purchased your volume, can you please do us the honors of going back on Amazon.com and placing your recommendation? It's not going to cost you more than even less than 5 minutes to do it. If you love us enough and if you support us enough, well, here is your way of supporting us by literally going there and posting a recommendation. We really appreciate that. You can also pick a copy up for a friend, because I'm telling you the stories that are in there. It says, tear the veil. These ladies tore the veil. You hear me? We tore our veil. I know that you've probably had several stories out there, but I'm telling you, when you read this, it brings a new spin, a new perspective to some of the stories that are out there. So please join us in celebrating all of these wonderful women that are really not, I mean, just kicking it. We have someone in Saudi, we have Saudi, we have UAE, we have London, we have Canada, we have all over United States of America, Africa. I mean, it's just incredible to see women come together. And who says women can't do things together? Well, let me tell you this. That don't mean we don't fight now, right? Because everywhere where you have sisters and brother, right, there's always some disagreement. But the cool thing is, at the end of the day, we know it's coming from a great place, and we just move on because we focused on the agenda. We're focused on our mission, our vision, our goal, which is to take our stories, right, to heal the world, to use our stories to heal those who we get in contact with. And as they heal, they transform. And as they transform, it brings about social reform. That is basically what we're about. So today we want to, okay, now let me say this. Let me just say this now. So here I am last night trying to sleep. And then somebody decides they wanted to do a little come to Jesus moment inside of our VIP group. So, and usually I would not even turn on my phone, and I look and say, oh, Ramona, okay. Let me listen to what Ramona is talking about. And here it is. Ramona is out there whipping her own behind. I mean, just whipping herself about what happened, about this 5-figure blooper that she made. And trust me, it is a 5-figure blooper. So I let her finish. I let her land up. Then I called her and told her about, well, you thought you did a 5-figure. Well, guess what? I just recently did a 6-figure blooper. But because of experience, I was able to quickly turn it around quickly. But what if I didn't have that opportunity, which there were cases that I've had in my life to where the opportunity never just came back again, but I just counted it as a lesson learned. And so today we're just coming to you guys to teach you and just share with you our knowledge and share with you our experiences, and hopefully bring some tools and through the discussions, you can get some guidelines so that it is better to have a 5-figure blooper than a 6 and a 7, because a 6 and a 7 will keep you in the bed for a long time. So what do you have to say, Ramona?
Yes, and I agree that it's good to, if you're going to fall off of a short ledge as opposed to a tightrope suspended over a city.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So let's begin the discussion. Let's begin this discussion. Why did you call it 5-figure blooper? Because I want people to understand our why before we talk about what this is really. Why 5-figure blooper?
Well, we're talking about lost opportunities in dollars. So when I say 5 figures, I had an opportunity to tell a CFO what I needed. And the figure of $10,000 came in my head. But for some reason, well, I know the reason, and we'll get into the reason, it didn't come out of my mouth. So that was the blooper. Normally on the TV shows, when they bleep something, or there's a blooper, an outtake, they cut it out. So my 5 figures that I should have said was cut out of my mouth. So that was my blooper.
So let's set this up so that people can really, I want people to understand. Let's set this up like a story. All right. So let's go back to what happened, right? What happened? How did you get there that you ended up with a 5-figure blooper? What were you trying to accomplish, and how did you get there?
As you all know, and if you've been tracking with us and following us, we are on a world tour for the Fearless Visionaries to the Veil. And the world tour is going to each of the locations and maybe even locations that our sisters are called to be able to present our books. But we're not just coming for a book signing. We're all coming to, in some kind of way, impact lives there. So in St. Louis, Dr. Leonore Muhammad and I are planning our St. Louis tour, World Book Tour, coming to STL St. Louis. And so in order to do that, and as part of being the Fearless Visionary VIP, we're getting some coaching and some tools in the background to set us up, because if you're anything like me, I have not gone this way before. I have not been on this journey to get sponsors. Yes, I put on events before. I participated in events, but this is something different. And yes, I'm also an author of 2 other books, which I failed to mention. And I've done book signings. But this is not just a book signing. This is an opportunity to raise awareness on mental illnesses, but in a way that celebrates the people who are trying to tear the veil. We're celebrating and encouraging people to achieve mental well-being and healthy relationships and to heal. And therefore, we need a venue and a place and a space to bring that all together. And it takes money, it takes resources. In order to do that, we've been learning how to get sponsors and write sponsor letters. And so I've been gathering the tools. And I've had some setbacks in my life that, kind of took me out of the loop. And as I come back, from burying my sister and different things like that, trying to get my mind back in the game to focus on this event. Because if you know the event planning, October is going to be here before we know it. So we needed to get our venue and our date. We were looking at spaces, and I wasn't totally prepared with all of my figures, even though we had been discussing and trying to get a vision for what we want that day to look like, the experience we want you to have when you come, what we want you to take away. We've been dreaming about it, and it's been in our head and not so much on the paper. So when Dr. Lenore said,
I want you to repeat that. It's been in your head.
It's been in our head.
It's in your head, but not so much on the paper.
Right, on the paper. We didn't have all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed.
Hello, Quivera. Okay.
You need all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed to feel the confident that, hey, it's solid, it's there. So that was the backdrop of what we were trying to do and put together. And we knew that we were going to get sponsors, but we were going to write that sponsor letter first and then go to the sponsors. We needed to secure a venue and our date because we needed that before we can even go to the sponsors and build anything, because we needed to know the space. And when she was saying, we're going to go Friday and look at a space, and I said, oh, I just found out about this other bank, M1 Bank, that they are, they created a space that they're renting out for nonprofits, and they have a mission. It's a bank with a mission. That bank was not necessarily built to make money because they had made money. They are making missions. And I said, their mission aligns so much with our mission. I want to check out with them first and see if they have a space. So I was really supposed to be calling to check out their space. But I had an opportunity to
Here comes the blooper, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the blooper.
And I shared our vision and what we were doing. And he said, oh, that aligns with what we're doing. Yes, that sounds awesome. And he said, but unfortunately, our is still being built out. And I don't think it's going to be ready for October 5th for your date, but perhaps sometime in the future. And I said, well, if you can't do the space, maybe there's another way you can help us. And he said, well, sure. What do you need?
I want you to sit on this one. I want you to dispense this part. I want you to do it slowly so you can be in a slow motion. And the CFO, right? Chief Financial Officer, which means the money guy for the organization, that this is somebody that would not necessarily be in your presence. For some reason, you ended up in front of the CFO Chief
On the
Financial
phone.
Officer. You bedazzled him so much that he said, what?
In my head, I heard $10,000. But before it can get down to my mouth, my lack of having the vision on paper, having that proposal ready, I couldn't really tell him what we had available to him as a sponsor or even just say the number. I had this conflict that, oh, I'm not ready to tell him the number. So instead of saying $10,000, I said, well, we are looking for sponsors and we're putting a sponsor package together. We're still working on putting that sponsor package together. And there was a pause. And I knew at that point that I had lost him. And I can imagine him saying, now he didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm imagining him saying, you were on a roll.
What happened?
You are and what you're doing. And now when I ask you,
you dropped me. Dropped me right like a hot potato.
It came to like, okay, you don't know what you need. And I felt like kicking myself. But I said, I can definitely get back to you on that. And he said, well, I'm going to pass your name over to the lady who actually is over our missions. They had a minister of missions at the bank. Going to pass my name and information. And I did give him our link tree. I said, you can find out more information about us. Here's our link tree link. So I'm hoping that this moment is not lost and redeemed. But I was like, when I got off the phone, I was like, how could I not form my lips to say $10,000? And so I've been mulling over that for the whole week, trying to figure out, why did I drop the ball? Why could I just not say $10,000? Even if I didn't have it all planned out and what I needed, $10,000 could have went a long way to make the event free.
That's right.
I knew I needed a space, so I knew that would cost money. I knew we wanted some kind of food. I knew we wanted to give everybody a book. But I could have just said $10,000. I could have said what came in my head.
Yeah. Now, this is what we're going to debunk, right? This is what we're going to debunk today, the 5-figure blooper. And I don't know how many people are going to be watching us their way of replay or even live right now. I can bet that 1 in 3 of us have found ourselves in this kind of situation where, we've been practicing, we've been doing some stuff, and then when the opportunity comes, we tell ourselves, the first thing we tell ourselves is, we're not ready because we're not put together yet. And the truth is, you are even more ready than you think, right? Because if you were not ready, if you had not been pushing his buzz points, he would not have said, what do you need?
Right.
He would not have said that. But because with us, you and I were talking yesterday about even my own personal experience too, where this one was a recently six-figure whopper that, I was chatting and talking about this project with this person. So I was talking about it, but I felt in my own mind, I felt like we were still at the, first phase where we're still trying to check each other out. I didn't think that it was a money stage. So I didn't even allow myself to think about money. But even though it was a know me kind of state, then the know me kind of state turned into, all right, what are you asking? So I found myself saying, what am I asking? Oh my God. I thought we were still trying to figure out who and who is this. And I heard the 6-figure in my head. I mean, I heard it clearly. It wasn't like a quiet thing. I heard it clearly. But when my mouth opened up, I still mentioned 6-figure, but it was like 20,000 shy. Is it 20? Yeah, 20,000 shy of that 6-figure. And after I opened my mouth and said it, the first thing in my head is, damn. Now you know you're wrong. Now you just know you're wrong. So I found my way out to the car where my husband was there waiting on me. And I walk in and he's looking at me, maybe first thinking, okay, maybe it just didn't go well as I thought. And I said, no, 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 actually it went too well. That's the problem. And he said, what's the problem? He said, well, I hope you gave them this amount. And lo and behold, the amount that he mentioned was the amount I heard in my head.
Wow.
Now, now I'm looking at him like, really? Now you don't reel this thing in now. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep. And he said, well, fix it now before we get out of this parking lot. Quick, fix it. So I got on my, and I said, well, this is what I'm thinking about. But you want to know something? Even though they bumped it up, right? But I still lost at least about 10,000 because of that action that I took. I still lost about 10,000. But still, that was a great lesson for us. So that lesson, the lessons, what we're going to talk about today, because last night you and I were discussing and I talked about courage.
Right.
I talked about, for us, courage. We never think about courage. We think about trust. We think about belief. We think about obey. We think about surrender. But we never think about the fuel behind all those words. And the fuel and the engine oil behind those words is courage. Talk to us about that. Talk to me about that.
Well, for courage, you have to have the courage. And it wasn't that I didn't believe in what we were doing.
That's right.
But I lacked the courage in my ability to present it. I was thinking, I was too much in my own head. I was too much in my own way. And as you pointed out, he asked, what do you need? He didn't ask for me, well, where's your proposal?
That's right.
He didn't ask, where's your plan? But in my head, I heard, you got to back this up. You can't just ask for something and not back it up. And so in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I don't have all my ducks in a row. And so I didn't have the courage to speak what was in my mind, the download that I got, the number that I got. I didn't have the courage to stand on that number, to speak that number in spite of not having it all laid out and planned. And so I missed an opportunity to be courageous and ask for what I wanted. And I find that, you know, in other places in my life, even to ask myself, what do I want? You know, what do you really want, Ramona? So you can want things for other people. You can help other people get what they want. You can help them dream. But when it comes to yourself, I have not been courageous to stand up for myself, to say what I wanted. And so that showed up in that conversation because I felt like I needed so much more to validate. And I guess the validation is because if you don't feel validated in your ask or validated in what you bring, validated in your gifting, validated that you are enough, then you won't have the courage to ask for what you really deserve.
Now, here's the thing. This discussion can be looked in two ways. One way is the importance of us mastering our geniuses.
Right.
And part of mastering our geniuses is knowing what we're doing inside out, even in the area of finances, right? We know the mission of the book. We know the mission of our story. We know we have a book of missions. That's a given. But we also have to take it up, right? Hey, Nani, welcome, Florida, welcome, Masha. We have to take it further by also understanding what we seek to do, even in our own individual launches, right? This can also, for those who are watching, it can be applied to your life. Hey, Leslie, it can be applied to your life. You know, it can be applied to business. It can be applied to career, where you must have a picture of where you're going. You have to have a visual map of where you're going. And I understand that there are times we want to lay it down on the paper, but we also have to understand that it have to be flexible, so that depending on who you're talking to, you have to be ready and flexible to just show. I was sharing something to you yesterday that a lot of times when it's at that level, people just want to hear your heart. They don't want to hear numbers, because when the time for numbers come, they're probably going to call you in to come in and sit with them where numbers are concerned. But when
Right.
it's a phone thing like that, and they have already caught your story, they want to hear more of you. They want to see more of your character. They want to know if you know what you're planning, what your dreams and your hopes are. And so how could we have turned that around from the discussions that you and I have yesterday? How could we have turned that around if you still had the opportunity to be in the presence of that CFO? How could we have turned that around? What do you think?
Well, when he first asked me, what do you need? I should have just answered the question.
That's right. That's
Answer
right.
the question that's asked. So that's number one. Don't feed into it. Don't add on to it.
That's right.
Answer the question that you're asked. Sometimes we give too much information. Sometimes we think too much.
That's right.
The other thing that we talked about was now just building a relationship.
That's right.
Now that he's heard, our story and had interest in it, then I can just reach out to him, even invite him to the event, even if they don't become a sponsor now.
That's right.
Because our missions are so similar, I can start building that relationship. And then, learning from this lesson and not just beating myself up and going, woe is me, but taking the lesson and applying it to my life so that next time I'm not caught like I was caught before. So the personal preparation that I need and also the practical preparation. So it's dealing with me, dealing with my mindset, dealing with my blocks, dealing with my personal issues. And then also just being prepared, taking the time. If you're going to be a fearless visionary, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be a business person, whatever you're going to be that. Take the time to be that and don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. So sometimes we drag our feet. And when the door of opportunity is open, we've had opportunities to prepare ourselves that we didn't take.
That's right.
So we need to take every opportunity that we have because we don't know when that opportunity is going to happen. And we're not going to always be prepared. So that's another thing that I have to tell myself as well, is that it's not going to always be cut and dry. I have to give myself grace to say, go with it. Follow the unction of the spirit. Follow your gut. Trust your gut. Trust you. Have the courage to trust yourself. And then also just being able to, like I said, build that relationship. And I don't know, I even thought about, perhaps there may be an opportunity one day for me to have this conversation with him and laugh about it. Say, remember
That's right.
what did I want?
That's right.
And then just to, know that there could be even some mentoring there or some lessons that he may get just from that conversation. Knowing that sometimes when you're talking to people that you want to help, they may not always, there may be a block there. And when we want to really help people, we have to understand that sometimes it comes with blocks. And how do we unblock them and unlock them?
I tell you what, though, your experience was such a classic case study that of the broadcast that I did a few days ago about courage, that I just felt like we needed to share it here so that people can actually get something from it. Now, I was saying that you can look at this in like two ways. One way is knowing that you need to master your craft. The
Right.
second way, actually look at it in three ways. The second way is understanding that you're not perfect and you're never going to get to a point where you can say, aha, I have the whole proposal down pat. You're never going to get there. So you have to understand that the first thing in your hand is always saying, what do you have in your hands? And just use what you have in your hands. And so when you look at that, you have to understand the kind of type that you have. Many of us are typical type A's, type A, that we have to cross our I's, we have to dot our T's, go back to the I's and recross it, talk back to the T's, take it out and remove it again. And if we're not careful, there are few of us, even as fearless visionaries, that are like that if we're not careful, here's the deadline in front of us and we're busy just erasing. and cutting and revising and cutting, and the deadline came and the deadline gone, and we're still erasing, cutting, looking for more information. And before you know it, it's 1 year, 2 years, and 2 opportunities have come and gone. You're still, and you tell yourself, you're convinced in your head that you're doing the right thing. You're
Right.
convinced. I know because, all right, I know because I'm like that. And I have to wake up on a daily basis to say, God, help me to get out of my own way. I
Yes.
have to literally on a daily basis. It's a daily walk, because when you are type A, you want things to be perfect, but you have to understand that even in the imperfection, God can use, in fact, a lot of times he uses the imperfection. Let me give you an example. There was one contract that I was vying for, right? So I would go through a particular agency for that contract. I went to the agency and I said, hey, I found this contract somewhere. I'm interested in it. What do you think? Can you reach out? And they said, oh, you want us to reach out? I said, yes. I said, well, so they said to me, they said, well, wait a minute now. Don't you have a friend that is there already? Instead of coming through us, which we of course cost that company money, why can't you ask your friend? I said, oh, no, I don't want my thing like that. You know, that's me. And I said, I just want to let me do this through you. And when it works out, we can see each other and say, hey, but I just don't. So I went through that little thing. So eventually they came back to me. Get this now. They came back to me and said, oh, they saw all the things that you're doing. They saw everything. They love it very much. But right now, they don't have the, they're not looking to combine their resources with anybody yet. Right now, they're not looking for partners. And I said, oh, okay. So I left it alone. Then a few days later, they said to me, they said, oh, you know what? That one of them saw my friend and was talking to my friend about me. And my friend was like, whoa, you guys need to get her on any contract. You need, if you have connected with her, get that woman on any contract because she will deliver. Now, I haven't even talked to my friend about this thing yet. So they came back, the same people who told me that they were not ready, right? Then they came back, they said, we're still not ready, but we'd like to just talk over the phone and let's just talk. Well, they got me on the phone, and would you believe that what was maybe, by the time I was done, the man that I spoke with said, here are my concerns. That was how it started. Here are my concerns. So I just said, one of them. Okay, now, here you go, princess. Let's roll now. And I kept my mouth shut. I let him land. And when he was finished, I said, are you finished, or do you need more time to elaborate on those concerns? And he said, I'm done. I said, oh, okay. And I took each consent and I wiped it off his slate. I mean, wiped it off. And within 5 minutes, he said to me, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Wow.
And as we were on, he was texting the whole organization, the president of the organization, and saying, you know, this one here, you better do something with her, because if you don't, I'm just announcing to you all that I will do something with her.
Oh, wow.
And why am I sharing this story? I'm sharing this story that he was not even talking about money. He was not convinced because of the money, or because of how do you propose to do this, because of the steps in the proposal. No, he was sold because of the story, and he was sold because I went straight to the question. I did not preamble my way out. I just went straight. He said he said, when I saw your stuff, here are my concerns. 1, 2, 3, and I went straight to it. So that the money thing came back much, much later, after I'd flown out there, after I sat with the CFO. That's when the money came. So there are times where people say, what do you need? You can throw any numbers, because you can still come back and say, you know what? After that, because by then you would have had to create a great relationship with them, that you can come back and say, you know, I'm still working on those numbers. It can be give or take this. Can I really now come back to you on that? So what are we saying here? Nothing in life is perfect. Don't always think that you don't know it. When opportunities come, these are the kind of opportunities they call elevator pitch kind of opportunities, where you hop on the elevator thinking you're going to work, and then you're in the elevator and somebody looks at you and say, who in the world are you? That is the kind of opportunity that we need to be prepared for at all times. It wasn't an opportunity to throw numbers at him. It really wasn't. It wasn't the appropriate time, because if you were that prepared and you actually started using that, you would have lost the whole thing completely too, because it was not the time to throw numbers. It was not. So somebody can actually literally go and make that same mistake, and their mistake can be worse than yours, because now they're throwing numbers and this person can't even see what you're talking about in front of them. And when you do numbers, you want people to see. You don't want to be throwing kind of numbers, like huge numbers, or, okay, this is what we're going to give you. Right? So you didn't do bad. You did not do bad at all. And this is the best time to actually make the errors that we need to make. And this is one thing I often tell Fearless Visionary VIPs. Take your time, click that button, because the more you talk about things, the more you just take any kind of topic and talk about things, the more you will learn how to bring things together quickly. Quickly, to answer any kind of question. And so I want us to also go back to that courage thing that we talked more about. You said belief, right? In my own head, with the 6-figure situation, right? My brain told me the exact 6-figure, but when I opened my mouth, something else came out. Now, something made that happen.
Right.
There is a reason, and we cannot gloss over that, right? We talked about the beginning when it says, God says, how far can you see?
Right.
So what my mouth said was how far I could see.
Right.
It's simply how far I could see. That's what came out of my mouth. Because I just couldn't see that amount. I was afraid. That's the word. I was afraid that if I dared to give them that high 6-figure, I might lose the whole thing. Not understanding that even the relationship and the story I gave them already sealed them. I could not receive that story already sealed them.
Right. That's good.
Right. So courage, right? Courage to believe not just in, like you said, we believe in what we're doing. We believe in the mission, but do we believe in ourselves enough?
Right.
Do we believe in ourselves enough to understand that it's not only about just serving others, but it's also about healing ourselves, recovering, us also recovering.
Right.
It's also about the journey is also about our own recovery. So tell us a little, talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's been something that I've been dealing with a long time. And that situation really made me think very hard about some of the actions that I take in life, in my career, and how I pull back or step back. And it made me really want to take fear by its neck and strangle it, because that's pretty much what it boils down to. Fear to be me, fear to be who I'm called to be, fear to be great. And I can look back over my life and see how I always needed to, I guess, stack the deck with a degree or with experience or with some kind of validation, instead of going in to give myself the grace to say, I'm not going to know it all. I'm not going to be the expert, but I can learn.
That's right.
I have the ability. I have the skill set coming in to start and the ability to learn and to grow into it instead of waiting to be perfect before I say, yes, I can do that. So I had to repent for playing small, for playing myself small, for seeing myself small, and realize that, you know what? It's time this year to go for it, to go for being great, stop holding myself back, to get out of my own way. So when you came, for instance, with your message about courage, and one of the things, courage to get out of your own way, I said validation
That's right.
in there because I see that I am in my own way, thinking I need to be perfect at everything, or thinking that people are looking for more from me because I have high expectations and high standards for myself. And sometimes I put myself out of the playing field because I feel like I need to live up to this high mark that I have for myself, as opposed to starting where I am right now. What's in my hands right now? How do I maximize what I have in my hand and just start from there and grow into it? So this thing with fear of failure or fear of not measuring up is showing up, and I cannot allow that to derail me from where we're going.
That's right.
So I have to deal with it right now.
That's right. And the good thing is, it's not just you dealing with it. I can bet you that those that are watching us right now, if they want to be really realistic about their own lives too, this is showing up in a part in one part of their lives. If it's not showing up in business, it's showing up in relationship, it's showing up in somewhere, it is showing up, because we
Right.
are all work in progress. We're all work in progress. And the first step is actually acknowledging that you got a problem, right?
Right.
First steps to, knowing that you have a problem, because some of us don't even think we have a problem, right? We use that problem as a crutch and we make an excuse out of it rather than say, wait a minute now, I've lost 3 or 4, 5 contracts because I'm sitting around, peddling around, trying to make things perfect. If you are watching us right now and you've lost 2 or 3 or 4 contracts because of that, this is the time that you need to really face that demon and really get rid of it and handle it, and not quit blaming everybody else around you, saying it's because they did this, it's because they didn't have this, it's because I don't have that. But really literally looking and say, whoa, if this has cost me 2 or 3 or 4 contracts, perhaps this is the right time. Or if it has cost me relationship, or if it has cost me a job opportunity, whatever it is that it might have cost you, that is clue for you to really sit in it and handle it. I was sharing my own experience with you, which was lately. It wasn't even something that was like way, way, way down the years. I'm talking about within the month or something. And I had to really pull back and say, God, you've got to show me, because I don't. Thank you that will help me to recover a bit from this 6-figure. But I don't want to. I don't want this to be my story with a 7-figure, because I don't think I'll be able to get out of the bed if that happens. I said so, and that's when God began to show me that we are focused. Our focus is on the wrong word. Our focus is on belief. Our focus is on trust. It's okay to know that. Our focus is on to obey. Our focus is on the word humility. Is a surrendering. Is an alignment, right? But we are neglecting the fuel, the engine oil that is needed for all those words to be ignited or manifested in our life, is courage.
Right.
Because without courage, because you can say you don't believe, right? You can say you don't believe. Now, you might believe in others more than you believe in yourself.
Right.
Right? But you can say you don't believe. But the courage to stand on your belief, the courage to accept and receive that you are worthy. Many of us are lacking. As big as you're going to see a lot of these big names. They love to pour into people But when it comes to their own self and you get closer to them and you find out that they don't believe much. They don't believe that they deserve much. They just believe that they were called to just pour and pour and pour and pour. And
Right.
that is an error. That is an error. So it's
And,
important. I'm sorry, say that. Say
and,
what?
and sometimes, I think as you're saying that, I think the reason why, we as givers or we as people who are pushing other people from the background, we are builders and producers, but I think we stay there because it's more comfortable for us to pour out of others
That's right.
than to actually pour back into ourselves or to receive or to put ourselves out in the front because we're afraid that people will see our flaws. But in the background, I can, help you, but you don't have to see what's going on back here. So part of tearing the veil is telling the truth on yourself. What's really keeping you in the background. You're saying you're the servant. You're saying that you're the person that, uh, here to help other people, boost everybody else up. But what are you really hiding? It's to get down to why you want to stay in the background, especially when God is calling you up higher, when he's calling you out into the light. Why are you trying to pull back in the dark?
Hmm, that's a good one. Now, I want us to, I want to quickly go just do a run through that courage list that I gave. If you get a chance, please go back and watch that broadcast. I think it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I really believe that it will actually make our discussion even make more sense to you. And
Right,
some of the things that I talked about is the number one ingredient of success is courage. So that we have to have courage to believe, right? Courage to believe in the process, to believe in ourselves, to believe in others, believe in ourselves as we believe in others,
right.
right? To trust, courage to obey, courage to walk in humility at all times, courage to surrender or yield to whatever process that is in front of you, right? Like with you, you had a process that was going on in front of you right there, right? And so there was that you did battle with courage to believe. And it wasn't about in the mission, it wasn't about in the mission, but it was about you now calling to believe in you that you were ready for this.
Right.
And
Yes,
here is what happens when you say to yourself that you're ready. There's something that happens even chemically in our brain that gets us the adrenaline that we need, that gets us that get fight or feel what you call fight or flee.
a
uh,
flight.
Exactly. You have that thing. You have that thing when you tell yourself, "I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready." Even your demeanor, everything, your standing, your sitting, your talking, everything will align with that word. I'm ready. But when you come in saying, "Uh-oh, let me back up. I'm not ready," then
Right,
it's also going to show in how you present yourself. And
right.
so, courage to walk in humility, courage to surrender or yield to whatever process of success that is being laid in front of you. We must have that courage. We must have the courage to align, even in the face of adversity. You were in a hot seat, right? It was not an adversity, but it was kind of, you were in a hot seat, right?
But
And
I think I made the seat hot.
now that's good.
Yes,
That,
because
that's,
it should
that's a good revelation.
it was a conversation that was flowing as it should have, but I
That's right.
failed it. I put myself in the hot seat as if I was on trial. And,
That's
and I'm getting more revelation even as we're talking this through. That's
right. Like that.
why I'm trying to reflect on our lives because you get downloads and revelations on what's going on with you. And
That's good.
as I think about it, I made it a hot seat. I made it about me instead of about the mission
That's right. That's right.
because I was thinking, oh, I got what I'm asking for, but it wasn't about me backing up what I was asking for.
That's
It
right.
was about me keeping the mission front and center and getting myself out of the equation and just throw out the number that came in my head and then to see what he would say.
That's right.
I could have taken it from there, but I jumped way ahead. Well, actually, not way ahead. I jumped way back.
Back. You fed it right back. Like, well,
Right.
hold up one. Just hold up. I'm not ready for this. Come
Right.
on.
And so as I said in my, live stream with the sisters, I said fear jumped up in front of me and pushed me back. And fear began to speak. And so fear put me in the hot seat because fear was like, oh, it's a dangerous situation. You're not ready for this. Here, let me push you back and let me start speaking. You got to learn how to silence that fear. It's not a dangerous situation. It's not hard. Just answer the man's question. What do you need? Have you thought about what you need? Yeah, I know. I could have just named some things. I didn't have to say a dollar amount. I could have said, we do need a space. We need some we need funds for. I could have just named some things, but fear jumped up, and it's kind of like a drowning person is grasping for straws, just pulling that stuff, and it gets frantic when it didn't have to be. It didn't have to be a panic. It was just a conversation.
That's right.
The phone, I wasn't even in front of him.
That's right. I tell you what, here's a good lesson. Give people what they ask for.
Yes.
Don't try to preamble around it. I remember when I was back home in Africa and I would hear stories about people going to the American embassy for visas and they were getting denied. Now, I was kind of like a news reporter and I was very curious, always curious about trying to figure out, but why are people getting denied all the time? What is all this about? But what was common when I found out, having spoken to a few, what was common was the fact that they could never answer the question. They would ask them, right? Are you the wife? Then they would talk about their children, talk about the husband, talk about their brother, their sister, and in the long run get themselves into trouble because now you're dipping into some things that they probably don't need to know.
Right.
So from early on, I learned to just give people what they want. And I say to myself, there will always be time to tell them more about me. But if this is what they want, then that's what they get. For example, like the guy that I talked about he just got on the phone and says, here are my concerns. Now, I could take it a different way and start fooling around, talking about how great I am, right? He already knew. He already saw my greatness. When I finally met him, he said, you have a gift. And I wept when he said it. He said, lady, and I went back and I said to myself, what in the world, what gift is he looking at? But that kind of thing come to you. And I said to my husband, I said, that man kept telling the president every day I got a gift. But what's he talking about? But he said it. He said, the minute I heard your voice, I heard the gift. He said to me, he said, I heard the gift. I just needed to be convinced about my concerns.
Wow.
And when he went to the president right in front of me, he said to the president, this lady, he can play ball. She can play ball because I gave her exactly my concerns. And he said, not too many people can put me in my place, but he said, she put me in my place, but in a nice way. But I knew she put me. She said, and I'm sitting there saying, well, I didn't think I was just focused on what he wanted. I didn't think I was putting him in his place, but oh well, if it worked, it worked. So we have to learn that when push comes to shove, give people what they ask for. What do you need? It shows me that you're really thinking a lot about it, because now you have another way of that kind of answering that kind of situations, that even if it's not the money issue, if the mission is in front of you,
right,
money will almost be almost like the last thing that you talk about. You'll talk about physical things like we need a hall for this, we need drinks, we need that. By the time you talk of that, then you say, and then some funds, right? That's another route. When it comes that you don't even have numbers in your head, that's another route. And there are times when I go into a place, I go in prepared with just a number, so that I have a number at the back of my mind that I'm thinking of. And then just think about, when you think about your mission and you say that you want a lunch, you can literally, without even knowing the numbers, you can think about, this is me in Missouri. What do I need? I need a hall. Who is going to be in the hall? People are going to be in the hall. Like how many people in the hall? Maybe 50 people in the hall. Okay, what am I going to do then? I'm going to serve them drinks. So you can actually walk your way through it without waiting for that, big old file that you're trying to create.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about what I need.
Because you were in the throes of the discussions already. He was enjoying the discussion already. He was sold already. Remember now, he was already sold on you already. So he didn't need you to resell yourself.
Right. But see, and that's the kicker. I felt like I needed to sell myself.
That's right.
That fear of not being enough, or the fear, that you got to keep on talking because there's something missing, So learning how to, like you said, answer the question, not keep on trying to validate, because you can then mess it all up. So being confident, or having the courage in knowing who you are and being confident in who you are, also gives you the confidence to be quiet.
That's right.
To just answer the question that's asked of you to the best of your ability. And trying to, fake it, you just say, to the best of your ability, this is what I know, and give that, and then have the courage to be quiet.
Now, one thing I also know is talking too much, right? That we have to learn to be very succinct, particularly with people in that high caliber that we don't know much of yet. We have to learn to be more of listeners and just say, oh, that's interesting. I like that. And just, just keep it on a low side. I remember there was one contract too that one of my friends, she went ahead and vetted for that contract first, be ahead of me. And with her, when she did get the contract, and she's doing incredibly well there now. And she said to me, I said, okay, so they want me to come. And I said, but talk to me about what you did before you sealed the contract. She said, I spent 1 week with them. When she said that, I said to myself, I said, Princess, you're not going that route. Because when you spend 1 week with people before the money issue, there's tendency that there might be problems. There might be trouble. Something that they would easily work with you once the contract is done, and just say, oh, okay, these are areas of weaknesses that we need to work on. But if you go and give them the whole 1 week ahead of time for free, that might be. So when she told me that, it worked well for her, but you have to know the kind of person you are. Right. So when she told me that, I knew I wasn't going to do that. And I only gave them 2 hours. You hear me? And I still ended up with the same, if not more, than what she ended up with. I gave them just 2 hours of my time to go and see what they do and see how it meshes with what I want to do. And then I just set myself quick out of that place before before anything else. Jet set quick. So there are times we have to understand that when we're looking for money, it's not about sitting there and wasting 8 hours of your time talking about that same thing, because if you're not careful, you're going to talk yourself out of that opportunity.
Right, exactly.
You're going to talk yourself. So we need to be careful with that too.
Right. And also, another thing that I'm learning, even in my career, is just right sizing, because you have to understand who you're talking to, who your audience is. And When you get to the C-suite executives, the conversations are shorter. It's like to the point. They
Yeah,
don't.
high level.
They
Yeah.
need the details. Have them in your back pocket, and then pull them out. Don't try to give them everything. But me being the teacher that I am, I tend to want to give you everything I know. And so I'm really learning how to right size that information, read the audience and right size it. And then just having also the courage to not try to do the fillers, because the fillers means that you're still trying to find out who you are. You're still trying to convince people of who you are because you don't know who you are yet.
Mhm.
So
Wow. I tell you what, hey Paula, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate you. I tell you what though, I hope that as you are watching on Periscope, as you are watching on Facebook, that this is really blessing you. I want you to begin to think about areas of your life that you can actually use this. My name is Dr. Princess Fumi Hancock, and with me is Ramona E. Jones. So we are just sharing our life journey. We're sharing that 5-figure blooper that was just recently made that we are turning into a gift because it is a gift. It is packaged to you and brought to you by Ramona
yes,
as a gift. This is a life gift that I think that is going to be a gift that will keep on giving if you use it wisely and use it in even in any part of your life. It may be a relationship right now. You can really, really use it and make sure that the next time, hey, Coach Donzel, welcome. The next time an opportunity comes your way, you're not, you know that you're snagging that opportunity because you're prepared.
right,
Always understand that you're prepared. You are even more prepared than you know. And,
right,
and that's it. If you are a classic A personality, you know you're already prepared more than even you know. Ramona, now with you, you know that you are way you well. Let me back up on that. Right? Let me say this. I know that you are more prepared than even an average person. You are more prepared. And because of that classic A type, I have to do it in a perfect way. It needs to follow an order like this. I need to
right,
have everything like that. That is the thing that gets in the way.
right, exactly.
Thank you for the hearts. That's what gets in the way. It's not
Yes.
your lack of knowledge, it's too much knowledge. And now you're trying to now put that too much knowledge in a little genie bottle, you
You
know,
got it, Princess. That's good.
and now you want the genie bottle to be well seated, well lighted, everything all put together, and then I can present. But by then, the boss done come and left.
Exactly. Too much preparation.
Yeah, okay. So, and there are many of us like that, even on this platform, that you know that you got too much preparation. So, okay, so we have a group of people. Some don't get preparation at all, period. They just want to wake up and become multimillionaires.
Right.
We have a handful of those who just feel like it don't take that much. Yes, it does, right?
Right.
That they don't feel like they don't feel like they need a mentor, you know. They want to mentor the whole world, but they don't want to be mentored. Now that's another class right there. That's a class of fools who want to mentor the whole world, but they don't want to be mentored now because guess what? They got it together. They got it like that. So they can mentor the whole world, but they don't want to be mentored. So you have a group of people like that. Then you have those who are knowledge can also be a disease if you don't use it the right way. Some of
Mhm.
us have too much knowledge. We have too much degrees that we feel like we need to anchor everything. That I can guarantee you that there are some people that question that it says, what do you need? I can see some of us say, oh, well, with my doctorate degree, da, da, da. And that would have turned that brother, I would instantly, it would not have even tell you to go and see the executive director. It would have just said, well, I
Right.
wish you all the best, da, 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 bam, it would have been out. So we need to understand that it's not, if they want to know about your degree, they know how to find out.
Right.
There's Dr. Google and other things there that they know. They know your degree. So when they ask you, I see you, who are you? They're not necessarily asking for all that degrees. And we need to stop it.
Right.
Stop anchoring and thinking we have to tell everybody our degrees. They will find that out. They want to know who is behind that mask.
Right, exactly.
Because the degree can end up becoming a mask.
Yes.
So who is behind the mask? And the degree is not what they want to connect with, is not what they want to have contract with. The person they want is the person behind the mask that they really want to know.
Right. It's the passion and your mission, and does it align with my mission? And do you have the passion to get it done?
That's right.
So I obviously, if he's asking me what do I need, he's like you said, he's already bought into the mission because he was already saying that's great. Yeah, that's aligning with what we're doing. So he was already sold on it, but I just hadn't owned myself.
That's right. That's right.
Or I let myself, not owning myself and myself, get in the way of what I was really there to do. And that's another thing too, even when we're speaking on a stage or speaking to people, if we're focused on, or how do I look, or how am I coming across, that all gets in the way and messes up the message, because people just want you to be sincere. They want you to just speak their heart. And if I get myself out of the way and not worry about how I'm looking, how it's sounding, but I'm just connecting one-on-one with you, then I'm going to give you all of me and not processing in the back of our minds. And there's some term for that too, when you're constantly processing, how people are going to receive you. And then even culturally, you feel like, if you're standing in front of an audience and you're bringing your cultural things that people have looked down upon, like, maybe I don't speak the right way, or maybe I have an accent, are people really seeing me, or are they seeing the color of my skin? All of these messages that are playing in the back of our minds, they are bogging down our ability really to even think clearly about the message and the mission that we're on at the time. Because we got this secondary processing going in the back of our minds, distracting us. And sometimes it can be overwhelming and shut us down so that we don't perform at the highest level that we can, because we're trying to silence these voices saying you're not enough, or, am I saying it the right way, or whatever. But if we can get all those things out of the way and just give people who we are, behind that veil, behind that mask, the real me, this is my passion, this is my mission. Let me just connect with you. Let's just talk. I think we'll be better for it.
Yeah, yeah. Patricia, welcome. Lorna Lee, welcome. Thank you for being a part of it. Coach Donzel, welcome. Please do share with your followers. We appreciate you. I like what you just said now, because it's very important that we know that no matter what opportunity that we see or we get, the very first thing that must come in our mind is relationship.
Yes.
Relationship before the money.
Right.
Because the relationship is what's going to determine how big or non-existent the money is. So that
Right.
if you come close, thank you for inviting your followers, Extraordinary. If you come close, right, thank you for sharing. And the first thing that you're talking about is the money, you can actually literally lose the opportunity, because
Right.
people are going to sow into people that they have relationship with.
That's true.
Can I say that again? People are going to sow into people, hey Dana, that they have relationship with. So
Yes.
that if you're not trying to foster relationship and all you're talking about is pushing number signs in front of them, it's not going to work. I have a friend now in London who I've known him for like 15 years. And with him, it doesn't matter whatever I want to do in Europe, he will get up. When we were in London, before we got to London, he was the one who set up all of the TV interviews, the radio interviews. He went on and he just blew it out of the park. But it's because of the relationship.
Right.
Without the relationship, he would not have, and he didn't charge me nothing for that because he's a manager and he manages a lot of my stuff in Europe. And he just goes and just does it because of the relationship and him wanting to continue to foster that relationship. So it's important for us that even when we're in the presence of greatness, we're in the presence of the C-suite guys, where we're in the present, even when they ask us, what do you need? You don't have to start with money, right? So we have to go in saying, you know what? If it's okay if I don't have the dollar, because that will come later.
Right.
But I could tell them the physical, because when you're telling them I need a hall, it helps them to really understand the mission. It actually focuses them on the mission rather than money.
Right.
It focuses them on the mission that, oh my God, she's getting ready to bring people together. Oh, I wonder what they're going to do in there, right? So it focuses more on the mission. It makes your overall ask understandable.
Right. Yes.
It eases them into the numbers when
Right.
you throw out even some, and you don't have to throw everything at them at once. It could just be 3, 4, 5 things that you say, oh my goodness, because how can you tell a story and you are that passionate and you can't even remember one thing, right, that is physical, that is connected to that passion that you just shared?
Right.
You see?
Yeah, and that's true. And because I was thinking, like I said, I heard the number $10,000
Right.
in my head. And then, like I said, the fear of, oh, how do I back that up? That came into play when, even though I had that figure of $10,000, now in reflection, I didn't necessarily have to say that amount like you're saying, but I could have said, so what does that number entail?
Yeah. What would it look like?
Right. What was it? What would it look like? And going back to storytelling.
That's right.
Show me. Don't tell me. Show me.
That's right.
Right. And so that's part of so we're learning here in this conversation. It's really helping me to really get ready for my next time, because
That's
now
right.
even if I have a number, I don't necessarily have to say I need $10,000.
That's right.
I have that number in my head, but how do I show them that number? I would love to be able to provide some refreshments for at least 150 people,
That's right.
a location that would accommodate them, so that I'll be able to. So then it's still telling the story, and I'm telling you what I need. And it's not sounding greedy. And I guess that's about it, because it was like $10,000, is that a little greedy? And then it goes back, for instance, to what you're saying, as far as you can see. So you can only see 10,000. If you can only see $5, you can see, then that's what you're going to ask for. And even if you think you need something more, you'll limit yourself down to what you feel like you deserve or you can handle, or that somebody will be willing to give you. So it's, it's us putting judgment. We think they'll be willing to give us. And what's really is in our own mind. We make ourselves small in our own eyes. Like when, Joshua and Caleb went into scope out the land of promise. The other, 8 saw giants, and they said, we're like grasshoppers in their eyes.
That's right.
They didn't see how they saw them. If you think about that, the story, all of the nations around them were terrified of them.
That's right.
Their God. So actually, people saw them as being great and mighty.
That's right.
Saw themselves as grasshoppers in somebody else's eyes.
That's right.
So when we play small in life, we are seeing ourselves as grasshoppers, as small in other people's eyes, when other people really see us as great.
That's right.
Well, like you said, he had already bought into my mission and my vision for him to even get to the question, what do you need?
That's right.
Already been telling me that, but for some reason, I had another record playing
Now let me go back to that. What do you need again? Because a thought just came to me with what do you need with what we're talking about now. Now there's want and there's need.
Right.
I want $10,000,
Yes.
but I need a hall. I need
Right.
chairs. I need cookies. I need this. I need to fill that room up with 150 of your friends. I
Yeah.
need, you
No.
see, so that what do you need? What do you want?
Right.
Right?
That's good. That's good,
Is
Prince.
that something? So you can want 10,000, but when you go, if you choose to go to the need, you might end up getting more than 10,000. Because
Right.
if you say, I need to feed 150 people, he might not give you money, but he can sure go to any of their partners like Subway or something and say, look, I need you to sponsor them for 150 people.
There you go.
And in that case, by the time you calculate that amount of money, it might turn around to be way more. When you put the valuation on your paper or your packet, that this is the kind of event that you've held, your event will be more than 10,000.
Right.
So what do you need? What versus what do you want? Thank you, Lonali. Lonali, thank you. Right? What do you need versus what you want? In your head, I want 10,000. Okay, I got 10,000. But if you go their way of need will point you to the mission.
Right. Exactly. There you go.
Want will point you to mechanics, just pure mechanics. And
Yeah.
pure mechanics at times will not get you where you need to go.
Yes.
But need we point you, we will point you to the mission. And once they're being pointed, as you are pointed to the mission, they are pointing to the mission too. And it's
Right.
because you gave him a mission. That's why he came back and said, what do you need? Because he's in that sphere of influence anyway. He's in that non-profit. He knows what non-profit is about. He knows
Right.
what it means to raise funds. Because I bet they're raising funds right now for their hall, the reception. He knows what that means. And that's why that word was very significant when he said, what do you need? He wasn't necessarily asking for money.
Right. Right.
Because he could easily have come back and say, oh, we're in the middle of building a whole lot of stuff. We're not able to give money. And that would have shut it down completely.
Right. That's good.
Right there. So that now you can now take this opportunity and now use it with the executive director that you're going to meet. You're not going to talk much about money, but you are going to talk about what you need.
Right.
And frankly, you need their people to fill up your room too.
Right. I do.
You need them to invite people of high caliber. You
Right.
need them to point you to how do you invite your mayor? How do I invite the councilwoman? How do I do this? You need more than money.
Exactly. That's good.
So that in the area of nonprofit, you can literally have people give you, that's why they said favor is not fair, because favor is not money. Favor answers need, not want. Oh, I'm pushing right? Favor answers needs. Favor, God's favor is an answer to need.
Right.
Because all the things that you need, chair, drinks, speakers, all these things will just show up. And you'll be like, oh my God, they will just show up. But if you now count the evaluation at the end of the day, you know, what it costs to bring a councilman to come and do a 5-minute speech, you know, that might be 20,000 right there. What it costs, by the time you calculate it, you've found yourself an event that is worth 100,000. And you can put that down safely for the next event until you get to an event where the big money actually shows up.
Yes. Okay.
So moving forward, and with your relationship, right? That's power right there. Oh, Pat, thank you. Favor answers needs. Amen. Thank you, Patricia. Right? So that you now thinking about meeting up with the executive director, you got it now.
Yes.
It's on now. It's on now, Ramona. You got it now. You're going to be focused on mission,
Yes.
not on want. You're going to be focused on mission.
Right.
And the mission is what's going to draw God's favor that's already on the mantle on your life anyway. Is going to draw that favor to it and mix, in the mix of that relationship, that is that need, you focusing on that need that will draw the heart of God, right? Who touched me? It wasn't once that touched Jesus at the end. It was a need. Let's think about it. When you're talking about the woman with the issue of blood, it wasn't her want. It was a need. It was a necessity. It wasn't want. It was a need. And her need was what touched the hem. And God said, ooh, somebody touched me.
Right.
It was a need that touched. So the need draws God's favor, draws it closer to you and into the mix of that relationship.
Amen.
So that person too, it meshes that need, that spiritual, it meshes that your heart to that person in that relationship, that they're able to say, wow, we totally get where she's going with this. I don't have a dime to give her, but you know what? I know a celebrity that can come up and MC her event, and they can call the celebrity for you. And here you are, you could never have reached that celebrity on any time and day. And here you are. It's happened to me before. Trust me, when I started with events, I ended up with one major celebrity that came and MC'd one of my events. And I sat there just saying, how in God's name did all of this happen? I had media that was putting me on the front page of their news and all that. And I didn't pay a dime for all that. And when people looked at that event, they were asking, oh, we can't throw this kind of event. It's way too expensive. Yeah, it sure looked incredibly expensive, but it was not as expensive as they thought, right? Because it was favor. It was favor that was pulling at my need and answering every need that I had.
Amen. I love it.
Lonadly says, wow, it was the need the Lord felt. Favor answers need. That's right, Pat, right? So I hope that you guys, I don't know, what last minute things do you want to share with them? What tools, what tips do you want to share with people so that we can wrap up tonight?
Well, Justin, first of all, I want to say thank you all for joining us live and via replay. Princess Fumi Hancock and Ramona Jones here, Fearless Visionaries. Turn the veil some more, because that's what we do, right? We tell the truth on ourselves so that we can help ourselves, recover ourselves, and then help others also to learn from our mistakes or to heal from the methods that we've used to heal. So the major takeaway from all of this is going back to Prince's messages on courage, having the courage to be. Just be who you are. Just be. You are more than enough already. You have what you need right here in the moment to do something with it. Yes, you're ever going to be growing and learning, because if you're not growing and learning, that means that you're dead.
That's right.
Nothing that grows cannot be living.
That's right.
We should all be learning and growing. So give yourself the grace to learn, the grace to grow, the grace to move forward. And when you get in a position, don't just get in a position and stay stagnant, but keep on, as Princess says, master your genius, master your skills, master your gifting. We should always be seeking mastery in it, but don't be afraid to step over in it, even though you feel like, you don't have everything that it takes. Because if you had everything, then I guess you might as well be caught on up to glory. If there's something else that you need in life, you might as well be caught up to glory. We're always going to need something. We're always going to be growing. We're always going to be learning. Give yourself that grace. Know that people see in you more than you see in yourself. Don't allow you to have a small reflection of yourself through somebody else's eyes. When you look in their eyes and you look back and you see yourself small in their eyes, that's in you. So cut out the fear that's in you, stand up, come from behind your veil and speak for yourself. Don't allow fear to speak for you. Don't allow the smallness to speak for you. Don't allow your past trauma to speak for you, your past pain or your past failures or situations. Don't allow those things to speak for you. Come from behind your veil. Speak for yourself. Start where you are and grow into it.
And for me, I want to just give a summary of the number one ingredient again. I'm going to do this again, but please take a time and find that broadcast is 2 days ago or so. And I think it's titled number one ingredient of successful healthy living. And it's courage. We must have the courage to believe. We must have the courage to trust. We must have the courage to obey, courage to walk in humility at all times, right? Courage to surrender or yield to processes. The courage to align even in the face of adversity. We must have the courage to say yes to a life worth living. We must have the courage to cut out things, places, people that are not serving our destiny. We must have the courage to move out of our own way. We must have the courage to allow our geniuses to be tamed. We must have the courage to remove fear and take on a fear-free living. We must have the courage to see all that's possible and then spring forth into action. We must have the courage to discern the right seasons for our lives. And finally, we must have the courage to carry along those whom God has placed in our path, including our mentors. Example is Hadassah, Queen Esther, and Mordecai. Mordecai was a mentor, and she carried a mentor along. Can I say that again? She carried a mentor along. She didn't say, now I'm the queen, later for you, Uncle Mordecai, go deal with your people and I'll deal with my people. No, she carried. And because she carried a mentor around, she even got blessed more, right? She didn't get rid of her mentor. She didn't say, okay, now I'm a queen. I guess I don't need the mentor anymore. Mentoring is a lifestyle. It's a lifetime event. It doesn't mean that you don't get to do anything with your mentor anymore. It doesn't mean you go and then you forget your mentor. I think it's a off way of doing things. When we look in the Bible, everyone that had mentor, Elijah and Elisha, they carried their mentor. They were smart enough to know that there is a mantle on the life of their mentor that they will continually need. So Queen Hadassah did that, right? And because of that, she was not only able to fulfill her destiny, which was to deliver, not to be the queen. She became the queen to deliver others. You hear me? That's another good preacher right there. She became the queen. God did not make her the queen just so she can sit there and be looking pretty. Yes, she was pretty, but God used that beauty. She became a queen. Think about it. For God to do something drastic, this is a man that is married, and God pushed aside a queen who was still married to the king and made her. Now, you know that's some moves right there.
Right.
That's a move right there that people can talk about for a long time, because Vashti was in that palace. Vashti was still married to that king. But because of her pride, God said, I'm going to do a new thing here. I'm going to get me somebody who believes in me, somebody who trusts me, somebody who will obey, somebody who walks in humility, somebody who is ready to surrender and yield to whatever I tell her to do. Somebody who is ready to align with me, even in the face of adversity. Think about it. Queen Hadassah was perfect at doing that. Somebody who said yes to this life. She said yes. She knew the adversity that was ahead, but she said yes.
Yes.
And somebody who was able to cut out things that does not serve her destiny, cut out things people play. She just cut them out, and it was just her and her mentor. Somebody who was able to move out of her own way. She moved out of her own way. She mastered her genius, because guess what? When they put her in the palace, she was able to listen to even the ordinary guard. Even the guard, people who gave her insight to the king, people who told her how to adorn herself, people who said, look here, all those other people, guess what? They're asking for money. Don't go there and ask for money, because you know when you become the queen, the money is yours anyhow. Why are you going to be asking for what is yours already? This is what we're talking about here, right? About asking for our need, not our want.
Right.
Isn't that something? About
That's
asking for our need. Because when you ask for your need, it makes the money subtle. And invariably you get your hands on the money. And that's what she did. She didn't ask. She didn't go there and ask for all this wants. She just, look, sister knew that once I get me on that seat. Once I get on that seat, the whole money is mine anyway.
Right.
So I don't need to put it in front of anything. So someone who is able to remove fear and take on a fear-free living. Hadassah was someone like that, because when it became time to save her people, she went into fasting and she said, look, if I perish, let me perish. But I'm still gonna, so she lived a fear-free life. Somebody who had the courage to see all that's possible. And she sprung into what? Action. She saw all that was possible. Even when she knew she could never go to the presence of the king without the king asking for her, she saw possibility behind that.
Yes.
She saw possibility behind that, and she sprung into action. The mantle, that sepulchre that king stretches out, is the mantle. Is a mantle of authority. Is a mantle that removes her from one stage and puts her somewhere else. And she positioned herself in presence that the man was able to say, here, hold on to my mantle at the end there. So she was able to discern the right season. When there was problem, when there was problem with our people, she discerned, I gotta go do some fasting around here. And I'm not doing this by myself. I'm calling my mentor here. We're gonna go in and do this. And when I'm done with this, then that's when I go into the garden and showcase my beauty. And showcase my beauty and let the favor of God that's on my life and this beautiful part, let it do wonders, because God will grab the man, right, with what they love. Right? God grabbed him with what he loves, which is beauty. Because remember now, he loves beautiful things. That's what made him not like Vashti anymore, because he loves to take Vashti and just display her in front of everybody. And Vashti got tired of it. Vashti got tired of being displayed and said, you know what? I ain't coming out this time. I'm tired of being displayed like a trophy.
That's good.
You know? And finally, courage to carry along those whom God has placed in your path, including your mentors. It is an incredible key that if we learn that, some of us we jet set. But some of us, we go a little bit like this, but because we don't like that, we flatline. We flatline. And we would have just gone like this, but then we go like that, and we flatline because we forget this. So I hope that those who are watching us now and watching us by way of replay, that you're really learning something out of this. I pray that God's favor overrun your life in everything that you do. I hope that you've learned some lessons from our own little faux pas here, because I'm sure I've learned my lessons too, and I'm going to go back and actually listen and watch this so that I can get my notes too, because I'm not going to be left out of here. So thank you all so much. If you do have questions as you watch the replay, drop the questions here. We will watch the thread for questions. Pat, if you're there right now, Lorna Lee, if you're there right now, if you have a question, we're about to wrap up. If you have a question, please put it here. Um, it was the need the Lord felt. Favor answers need. Amen. Let's see. Let's just wait for a few more seconds. Oh, thank you so much. Extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you. I have Extraordinary on Periscope. Those who are watching us their way of Periscope, please watch the replay. And can you just share this? I really believe that somebody out there will be delivered from, so that when your opportunity of 5 figures opportunity come, or 6 figure, or perhaps 7 figure comes, you don't blow it.
Yes.
So that you don't blow it. So that you don't end up with sleepless nights, be thinking, oh my God, what did I do? Oh, no questions. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. Yeah. So you don't be like us saying, oh my God, I should have said this. Oh, why did I not say something? Right.
Right.
Now you will remember that you heard this from us. Right. Always go in with need and not want. If you're trying to get something from somebody, going with your need and not want. And
Yes.
your
That's
need
good.
doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Yes, I'm on Periscope right now. I'm on Periscope right now. So thank you for that. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna wait for. Okay, Patricia is there because she wants to share it. I'm gonna wait for her to share it. All right. So Lorna Lee says, "How do you know for certain when God is leading you?" Woo! Ramona, do you want to take that? How do you know for certain when God is leading you? Now, I need you to be certain too. I need you to be exact about your question, because that question is a little bit too generic. How do you know for certain when God is leading you in the area of, can you finish that, Lonely? In the area of, because it depends on the areas you're talking about. That's, is it when opposition comes against you? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take that, Ramona, and then I'll.
Well,
Next
as you said, the question is a little bit general, and often, in my own life, it's really a fine line between, knowing if it's you, if it's the enemy, or if it's God, circumstances, situations. But the more that you know yourself, know the enemy, and know God, you'll have a sense of what God is leading you to. And if you're a prayerful person, you'll be in tune with what God is saying. And sometimes because opposition comes, opposition could be that he's corralling you in the way that you to go, or it's because you're having opposition because he's building you for your. So it's not an easy thing to know when God is leading you in a certain direction, other than just keeping your ears close to his mouth. And I'm like, okay, Lord, is this it? Is this it? And sometimes you may not hear it. So you keep stepping step by step until you get another direction given to you, kind of like the GPS. Your GPS, if you believe that, you put in the right destination, and that you're following that GPS. Now, sometimes the GPS can steer you wrong, but if you believe that God is leading you and you see something that doesn't align with his word, then just like when the GPS gets you off and take you to a dead end, you be like, well, this doesn't look like where I'm supposed to go. Then you get to course correct yourself according to God's word, or his last direction that he gave you. So it's not going to always be a cut and dry thing to know for sure where you're going, unless you've got a certain word, a sure word. If he word, then you obey that word he gave you. And opposition can be to strengthen you for your when to where you're going, or it could be the corralling. So it's just really going to be you spending time with God in prayer, and with getting good counsel.
That's right.
With other people. If you're not sure, surround yourself with people who can give you good counsel, other people who hear from God, or who can, go into prayer with you to get some answers. I hope that answers your question, Lorna Lee.
Let me also say this. Number one, Praying helps you to stay in the will of the Father. Let's start with that. Being in prayers, being prayerful, it helps you to be in the will of the Father. And so once you're in the will of the Father, you will start to hear words, right? You will start to hear directions. You will start to hear things drop in your conscious, unconscious mind, right? Now, the next part of it is whatever it is that is dropped, you do not take action until you get confirmation. Because even the word of God takes it a little bit further and says that, his word is confirmed by 2 or more people. So if you're not getting confirmation yet, then you need to just wait it out. Now, this is where we all get antsy because we want to just roll. Because God calls you a pastor today, don't mean that he wants you to now, drop your job, drop everything, and then start carrying Bible all over the town. You're just going to be a poor pastor for a very long time, which he has not called you to. So, number 1, know that you're within his will by reading his word. Number 2, understand that whatever comes into your heart, the direction, there's always a confirmation somewhere. Number 3, seek counsel, because it says that in the counsel of 2 or more, there's what? Seek counsel. Yes. So when you seek counsel, and here's the thing, the counsel that you seek will always confirm what was in your heart already.
Right.
It will always confirm it. And so once you seek counsel and it's confirmed, right, now you also have to use your own physical faculty, because I don't think God gave us brains just not to use it. I just want us to be just so spiritual that we can't even use our brains. So right. Now you can do pros and cons of whatever that direction is. Now, here's the thing about attacks. Opposition. Now, I've seen situations where when people, I think Ramona knows that because I've said it about me. A lot of times when promotion is coming my way, something precluded. People will just start acting silly in front of me. People will start going out to talk evil about me. I mean, things will just start happening, but it's not happening to me, if that makes sense. It's not something like they're badgering me. They're just saying things out there to discredit me. And instantly, it doesn't even take 24, 48 hours. There's always a shift in my life. When that thing happens, it's just like boom. But the thing is, I'm always at peace because I know that there are people that I've served. You see what I mean? There are people that I've served. They just didn't come out of the woodwork. There are people that I've served. So I leave them at the altar and let God do what he needs to do. But what God always does is replenish me. And so, and then, just like Ramona said, some of this opposition, yes, it can come from the enemy, but that don't mean that means that, great things is happening your way. It could just be it's coming from the enemy and God wants to strengthen you there. Then it could mean disobedience on your part too. I mean, let's be serious now. All right? Let's be serious. It could mean disobedience. You don't be disobedient in some parts. So now your disobedience is attracting is kind to you. Because disobedience we attract is kind. Obedience we attract favor. Disobedience we attract lack of favor. And lack of favor we bring opposition. We bring all kinds of things into all kind of mess that you don't need. It will bring it into your life. So we need to also address that. Once you've addressed that and you know that that is not the case with you, then you can rest and understand that this is a work in progress. Perhaps there's a lesson in it for you. You learn your lesson, and it's that lesson that you learn that will bring that shift. That lesson is what's going to move you to your next level.
Yes.
You won't have to even do much of moving. That lesson will literally just transport you, because while it's just like you now. We learned a lesson from this 5-figure, but you can't tell me that it hasn't transported you now. You're transported already. So you know that, spiritually you're transported, physically you're transported, because you're working your way through that faux pas. You're working your way through that blooper, and there's no way an opportunity is going to come and you're going to miss it again. It's not going to happen. So things like that will transport you, And as it transports you, there's a shift in your mindset. There's a shift, right? That shift in your mindset comes first, and then physical manifestation follow your shift. You have shifted in your mindset now concerning this issue. So
Yeah.
physical manifestation now is what you need to just be prepared for. And so for you to be prepared for it, now you need to go and do your numbers. Now you need to go put some things in paper, right? It's a learning experience. Good, right? Now you need to put some things in paper because now, because you know that you have a shift in your mindset, you're ready because you know the physical is about to show up now again.
Yes, amen. I receive that.
So Lona Lee says, can you desire something so much to where you think it's God leading you? Oh my Lord. Ooh, yes. Ooh. Also, when is the right time to let go of something? Oh my God. She is answering some powerful questions. Lord, I must. Ramona, hit it first before I hit it. Lord God Almighty. Lona Lee, you're killing me here. Ooh, good.
Well, for the desire part, that you can desire something so much that you think is God leading you. Now, we do know the scripture says that God will give us the desires of our heart in righteousness.
That's right.
So check the desire. Is it in righteousness? Is it according to God's will? Is it according to God's plan for your life? Or is it just something that you know is not really God's will? Now, everything everything is, maybe permissible, not be good for you. It may not be God's will for you.
That's
but
right.
The more that we desire something or focus on something, we can trick ourselves into believing that it's the right thing. Because the saying is, if you tell the people a lie long enough, they'll start believing it. So you can lie to yourself long enough that you believe your own lie. So it's the same thing with a desire. You can desire a thing long enough. For instance, like in a marriage, you can desire for this man to be your husband, that you can start telling yourself, that's my husband. So I speak, yeah, that's my husband. So you've convinced yourself that that's your husband, but the Lord ain't told you that your husband. But go out and say, well, now that I have these feelings associated with it, because we understand also that your thoughts and your emotions are two sides of the same coin. You can't have a thought without having a feeling about it. If you're directing your feelings and your thoughts onto the same thing, then it feels like it's a whole thing. But you could be wholly wrong.
That's right.
That desire.
That's right.
So you can't get mixed up to say that that's God leading you. People go into error all along. So we always have to check ourselves, check our heart, check our intentions. Why do you want that thing? And then the other thing is, God may be putting a desire in your heart, but you're resisting it. So you have to ask yourself the opposite question. Why am I resisting this? What's the that's causing me to resist God calling upon my life or his desire for me to do something? And then also, when is the right time to let go of something? It depends on what it is that you're talking about, because number one, if it's the wrong thing you're holding, now would be a good time. And if you've been, and I'll just say in my life, my chapter in the book, Fearless Visionary, Tear the Veil, if you haven't gotten your copy, please go ahead and get your copy. In my chapter, I talk about how I spent 26 years in the same relationship. And the revelation was that I was focused on the dream of marriage that I had. I was trying to build that dream. I was working hard on building that dream of that marriage. So kind of going back to that desiring something, I'm desiring that this marriage work. I'm desiring that this man becomes a husband, but a man is not necessarily a husband. The husband has to already be in the man. A man just can't necessarily become a husband if the husband is not already in him.
That's right. That's right.
So I couldn't make him be something that he was not. No matter how much I desired this dream, I was never going to get it because I was not working with the right ingredients that was going to get me there. So when the point when you realize, so the right time is when you realize, when you come to the knowledge and the understanding that you're on the wrong path or that something is not working, then you have to be willing to cut your losses.
Mhm.
Even though you've put in so much work into that thing, you've been tilling the land for 26 years and you've been
That's right.
just a little bit of crop and you use that little bit of crop to give you, oh, it's producing something, so let me keep working. But God wants us to have an abundant life. So if you're not getting abundance, if you're not getting
That's good.
strengthened produce, then you might just be wasting your labor in the
That's right.
place.
That's good. That's
And
it.
because you have committed so much into that thing, you're holding on to it because you are just trying to get blood out of a turnip. I want my return.
That's right.
When God is saying your return is over here.
That's right.
Let that go and let me bless you. Do you want what's in your hand or do you want what's in my hand? And I had to tell myself, God, your hand is bigger than mine.
Mhm.
Let me drop this little stuff that I feel like I've spent so much time on, and I feel like, or if I let this go, I'll have nothing. But God, you hold my life. Everything that I want and need is in your hands. So I'm going to let this go. I'm going to bless it away. I'm going to sow it and let it go.
That's good. Now, let me add to that. Can you desire something so much to where you think it's God leading you? Yes, you can. I can use my ex marriage as an example where I knew in my heart it was over, but I was using the Bible to kind of convince myself. And then I totally forgot that it takes two to tango. I forgot that it takes both of us saying yes. It
Right.
wasn't just me saying yes. And in fact, the more I said yes, the more he said no. You watch me, right? And so for me, for 3 years, everybody around me was saying it's over. And I kept saying, that's not what God told me. And people were telling me it's over, you need to just move on. And I was on the floor fasting, praying, dancing, thanking God for him coming back. And I don't even know why I wanted him to come back because it was hurting me. But I wanted it because I was used to that. And I wanted him to come back. And I would never forget, after 3 years of just completely wiped out, tired, and I heard the Holy Spirit say, are you done yet? I was sitting in the living room. I will never forget it. I was watching a show and I was crying. And the Holy Spirit said, are you done yet? And I said, done with what? He said, no, because are you done with your pity party? Because you spent your last 3 years in pity party, you know. I said, but God, you said you don't want marriages to fail. You said, no, you said. You never even asked me what I wanted from you. You never asked what I wanted of you, what I wanted for you. You said, you've been saying quite a lot. For the last 3 years, all you've been doing is saying a whole lot. And now I'm asking you, are you ready? And when I said yes, it's the first wiped out tears because no more. I got work for you to do. So a lot of times we want things to happen. And with me, there are certain things in my life that when I pray, I see response, right? There are some areas it's just static. It's just like boom. And I said, but God, you answered that question. Why aren't you answering this? Why
Right.
is it that in these areas, I don't even have to blink. I don't have to lift a finger. You're doing an incredible work. And then here, so when you get to a place like that, you need to be still and really see, okay, is it an attack of the enemy or is this God telling you back off and move on the other side before you bankrupt yourself? Yeah, yeah. And when that things like that happen, right? If you've been praying for a husband, a particular man for 15, 16 years, you need to back off. All right. If you have a man in your head that you know and you've been saying, and you count your years, and it's been 20 years, and you're still waiting for this man who probably don't even know that you love him, then you need to back off and move on with your life, and don't waste your time and your life with that. All right. When is the right time to let go of something? I just gave you an example. If it's 16 years, 15 years, and you're loving on a certain man that is in your neighborhood or somewhere, and then I come and ask you, have you guys even had dinner before? And you say, no, you haven't. And it's 20 years. Well, I don't have to say nothing about that. You know, don't be telling me it's God telling you to wait, because that's just you waiting. So there are just some things that are out there like that. Oh, thank you, Lorna Lee. There are just some things that are out there like that that you would know when the right time to just let go. If you are doing a kind of business, which has happened to me over and over and over before, that thing is just, you're pumping money and pumping money and pumping money and pumping money, and you're not getting anything. You are in the third year, you're in the fourth. Well, businesses usually takes 3 years, right? Now you're in your fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, seventh year, eighth year, and all you're still doing is pumping money. Come on now. You
Yeah.
know, come on now. Let's use wisdom, and let's also use the faculty that God has given us. So,
Yeah.
but more importantly, the Holy Spirit will guide you into all truths. That's what the word says. It will guide
Yeah.
you into all, not some, all truths.
But Princess, let me add to that, that we have to have a root of truth in us.
That's right.
And the root of truth reaches out and pulls truth in. And myself, I am careful about making sure that my root of truth has deep roots in truth. And so that when I hear truth, even sometimes when truth hits you, you may not like it.
That's right.
It
Often
comes
I don't. Often I don't,
right,
because that's when I know it's the truth. When it hits me wrong, in a wrong way, like, oh, then I say, oh, look at your rebellious princess coming out now. Now you know you just heard the truth.
right. But there's something about having that root of truth because it reaches out and it grabs truth and it won't let it go and it won't let you let it go.
That's right.
You have to reconcile the truth because you can't have incongruence in there. You can't
Mhm.
this lie and this truth because it's going to be battling. And if you got a root of truth, the truth is going to win out.
That's right. Well, Lonely, I hope we've been able to help you a little bit. Patty Pat, thank you for joining on Periscope and hopping on Facebook and just hopping around to help. Thank you all, everybody, for just coming. We hope that we've been able to bless you with what we have. Please
Right.
continue to come here and watch other Fearless Visionaries as we continue to move forward. I think tomorrow myself and Yolanda are going to come out and talk a little bit about what's up with the next world tour that we have. So just stay tuned. Fearless Visionaries, teartheveil.com. Our what do you call it, our official trailer is there. It's really powerful for you guys to watch. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lorna Lee, for the, he says thanks for this empowerment session. God
You're
bless you.
welcome.
God richly bless you. Please come back again. Until next time, be inspired, be motivated, be of sentimental value. Know that you are the hero in your life story. Please write your story beautifully. Write it for legacy. Write it for impact. Write it because you know you are worth it. So God bless you and have a great evening. Yolanda, Ramona.
So I want to thank everybody for coming. I
Thank you,
also
Lori.
saw comments from Andrea Ellis and from Nani Mohammed, Judith Paul, Joyce, and other people. Those are people I can see. For Lorna, my sister, and for everybody else who joined us live or via replay. We certainly hope that us tearing the veil has helped you in some area of your life live courageously and to live on purpose. Also join us in the morning. Myself and Fearless Visionary, Dr. Leonora Muhammad will be doing an interview. So We're going to live stream it here within the group. 8 a.m. in the morning is when we're supposed to start. So stay tuned for more and be on the lookout for when our notification come. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for purchasing our books. Thank you for going on this journey with us. We're so happy to have you along. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are. We hope to see you in the city that we're coming to. And Princess, thank you so much for being such a fearless leader. Thank you for this conversation that has even brought me more enlightenment. And as we have been reflecting, you get more revelation. So it's always good to reflect back over your life, back over where you've been, not to stay the victim, but to look back over it to get the life lessons and the nuggets. And it's always good to do that in collaboration with like-minded people.
Yes.
So if you're a part of the Fearless Visionary community, you're in good company. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hold on, Ramona, let me get us